Hi, I'm Meg Nate with the Downtown Goldsboro Development Corporation, and you're watching the Downtown Living Show. Today's show will feature Thistle Bee Quilt Shoppe, the Goldsboro Police Department, and Hat Ballroom. I'm here with Mary Ellen McInnes of Thistle Bee Quilt Shoppe in downtown Goldsboro. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. You have a beautiful space here, and you recently moved from Royal Ave to downtown Goldsboro. Tell me why you made the move.
The reason we made this move at this time was because we really outgrew that shop. That shop, the whole building was 830 square feet.
Wow.
And our classroom was a little room that was about 10 by 11 feet.
Okay.
We tried to fit 4 people in there, plus cutting table and ironing board, and it was really just claustrophobic. Mm-hmm. It was time to move. In fact, the landlady there said we should have moved 2 years earlier as far as us growing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Well, tell me a little bit about your history and why you started this business and where your passion for it comes from.
Okay. When we got into that Quilt Sampler magazine, I kept getting those questions. Why were you interested in quilting? What started it? And at that point, which was 2-3 years ago, I could not give them an answer. I just knew ever since a child I wanted to make a quilt, and I couldn't figure out where that came from. I don't have any family quilts. I don't remember seeing a quilt in my family or my neighbors when I was a child, so I could not figure it out. I finally figured it out after the magazine got published. And it's because my aunt and uncle ran the Grange Fair up in the township that we were from in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And I loved that tent that had all the quilts in it.
Okay.
And that's where that desire came from. In the 70s, my mom always knew I wanted to make a quilt, and she bought a quilt pattern from either Women's Day or Ladies Circle or one of those magazines, and that's what started it all. Okay. And from that time on, I've been hooked. It is an addiction.
Well, good. I mean, your shop is so cozy, and I mean, you have a ton of items here for sale. Tell me what people can find when they come into your shop.
When we originally opened the shop, I sent questionnaires to 3 guilds in 3 different towns, and it was 3 towns that didn't have a quilt shop. I sent it to the Goldsboro Guild, I sent it to the Wilson Guild, and I sent it to the Rocky Mount Guild. Mm-hmm. And I was asking, what fabrics do you like? What do you want to see in a quilt shop? Would you even patronize a quilt shop? Mm-hmm. You know, it's all those things that you do before you start a business, the research you do. And once I got those answers, I took the top 10 answers of the types of fabric that they wanted, and that's what I brought into the store. Mm-hmm. I think because the store was so small in square footage, they weren't buying what they said they were going to buy. We had a quilt shop 30 miles to the east, or 30 minutes to east, 30 minutes to the west, mm-hmm. and we were in the middle, so I didn't want to duplicate what they were doing, so I ruled those things out. A couple years into the quilt shop, one opened in Wilson, which is 30 minutes to the north. So I said, great, now I can be what I want to be instead of all things to all people. Mm-hmm. So what I have done is, right now I'm very specialized in 19th century fabric, reproduction fabric. Okay. According to my rep, I have the biggest collection in North Carolina. Wow. I just love history, so I'm in historic downtown now. I love history, I love the history of quilt making, and it fits. I also had my youngest daughter working for me originally, and she was picking out the trendy things. So when the Quilt Sampler was saying, you know, why do you have reproduction and trendy stuff, that is the reason why, and sometimes we even mix those fabrics together, which gives the old an updated look, which is really cool.
So you have a ton of fabric. I mean, every color, every pattern under the sun. You've got stuff for cross-stitching?
We have some floss. Weeks Dye Works, they are a North Carolina manufacturer. They're in Garner.
Oh, wonderful.
They used to be in Fuquay, and they moved to Garner. So we have some of their floss. We don't have a lot of count cross stitch. We do have a count cross stitch group that meets on Saturdays, though. Mm-hmm. They would like me to carry some stuff, but it's sort of like a whole new industry, dealing with linens, and I don't know. I'm not ready for that yet.
So speaking of your clubs, mm-hmm. I looked on your website, because mm-hmm. you have a great website. You've got a newsletter that comes out. Tell me a little bit about the different clubs and the different classes that you have here.
Our classes, I have contracted teachers, and one teacher is an employee of mine. And every quarter they get to pick out what classes they are interested in. My philosophy is I want my teachers to be excited about what they're teaching. I don't want to tell them what they have to teach. So they pick what they want to do and what they love, and their passion comes through. In the course of being open for a few years, we found that clubs are something that works even better than the classes. Quilting is a social art, and the clubs just fit the need that women have, because sometimes women feel very isolated, whether they're moving in military wives, whether they're older women whose spouses have died, or have health problems, as they get older. They enjoy being around each other. They get to know each other. They build that friendship. They get very concerned if a member of the club doesn't show up. So that has worked very well. Now, some of the clubs that we have, in the quilt world, we have these things called blocks of the month, and each month you get a block or a number of blocks, and usually you come into a store, pick up the package, go home and make it. We have done it that way, but then we try to change it up each year, the style of it. My employee, she decided, well, let's go work through a book. And she did that as a block of the month. And it was one block each month, but it was teaching a certain technique. And that worked very well, which it sort of came to be a club. Okay. Everybody caring about each other, what are they doing? We do like to be in each other's business. So we do that. We've also tried the blocks of the month that you can sign up for a class, or you just can come in and take it home. So we try to meet people's needs. Right now, the quilt behind us is one of our blocks of the month. Okay. And sometimes it's one block, sometimes it's 4 blocks. It just depends. But it's teaching a technique also. Okay. So, and how to use your decorative stitches on your machine. So it's each time we try to change something up.
Okay, so for someone like me who just got a sewing machine and is slightly intimidated by it, you offer a class for people who are just starting out.
This quarter we do. We have one that's called Know Your Machine, and it's for those people. And we like to do beginning quilting and beginning sewing, or something with your machine, or hand quilting or machine quilting, something that if people get a new sewing machine for Christmas, now's the time to learn. Or if your resolution is learn how to make a quilt, now is the time to learn. We find the most success for those classes in January through March.
Okay, wonderful. And if people are looking for something in particular, can they come to you and say, this is what I'm looking for, this is the type of fabric I'm looking for, I just can't find it?
The fabric's a little harder. I just called a lady this morning. She wanted a Super 60 ruler. I'd never heard tell of it. I'm not a gadget person. So I said, okay, if I can find it, I'll order it for you. Notions like that, I can do a whole lot better. A fabric, you usually have to buy a line or a large amount of different bolts for it. I do listen to people, if they want a certain type of fabric. I try, as I said, I carry those 2 styles, but people hear like a brighter fabric called batiks that are made in Indonesia, and so I have a shelf full of those. And I have children's also fabric. So I try to listen to what they want, but space lots of times can be an issue there.
Sure. So what are your hours here?
My hours are Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 5, and Saturday 10 to 3.
All right. And if people want to find you on the internet, what's the best way to do that?
Our website is thistlebeequiltshoppe.com.
And you have a Facebook page as well?
Yes. You find that by putting in Thistle Bee Quilt Shoppe.
All right. And you are located at 224 North Center Street.
Yes.
And what is your phone number?
It's changed. 735-0750.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for
talking
with me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm here with Officer Edgerton of the Goldsboro Police Department, and he's going to tell me a little bit today about what the police department does to keep downtown Goldsboro safe. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Tell me how many years you've been with the Goldsboro Police Department.
I started with the Goldsboro Police Department in March of 2011, so March of this year will make 2 years.
Okay. And what are the primary areas in Goldsboro that you patrol?
Our city is divided up into 6 zones. One of the areas being what we call at the police department is C&W, which is Center and Walnut Street, which is basically a big square of downtown from everything from Mass Street to Elm Street, George Street to William Street, and anything in that middle. So it covers the whole downtown area.
Okay. What is the police department doing to keep downtown Goldsboro safe?
I think ever since the police department's been here, there's always been somebody downtown. I think downtown used to be more popular and bigger crowded than it is right now, so they used to have people what we call walking the beat. And that's kind of been a tradition here at Goldsboro. Your 2 lowest officers in ranking as far as time here will be the ones that do that, do the C&W. And what they do is they kind of walk around downtown all day. That's our primary thing. We stay in that square block. We walk. We have the Segway. We can ride around. I don't know if you've ever seen us on the Segway. Mm-hmm. It's pretty funny looking, but we ride around on that. We walk the beat. We talk to the shop owners. Meet the people who live downtown and get kind of familiar with them.
Okay, so you have a good rapport with people.
We do, because there's certain people who live here, and you meet them, you spend time here, and you see them downtown every day, and you kind of get to know them a little bit.
Okay. What are some of the misconceptions about the safety of downtown?
I think, like you said, one of the big misconceptions is that downtown's a bad area, that it's, like other cities, if you go downtown, you're going to get robbed, you're going to get mugged, that we have bad things happen downtown, but downtown's probably the safest place in Goldsboro. It's close to the police department, the fire department, and EMS, all within a couple of blocks. So if something happened within a few minutes, we should be there. We could walk there, matter of fact. I mean, we don't have to get in the car. It's that quick. As far as I remember my 2 years here almost, I don't remember anything major ever happening downtown. Usually, if it's anything, it's a wreck. That's probably the most often. Sometimes that traffic circle gives people fits. But other than that, it's a very safe place. I've never had anybody complain about a robbery or mugging or anything like that. So if people come downtown, they don't have to fear anything. There's nothing to fear. I guarantee you'll see a police officer or a fireman or somebody if you come down here close to you.
What are you doing and the police department doing to keep downtown safe for the future?
Ever since we had Chief Stewart in here, our new chief, he's implemented a community policing model, which is a more community-based policing, meaning you'll see us out walking more. We don't just ride around in our cars all day and write tickets. We like to walk, find little things like the graffiti. And just like today, I found a manhole cover downtown that was kind of shifted a little bit, which I relayed the necessary information to the maintenance people so that we fix it before something bad could happen. We're just trying to make us sing more with the people, talk to the people, and be more proactive and find out their complaints and their problems and see if we can address those problems.
How has it been working so far?
So far, we've had a positive response. I believe you could ask the chief that he gets phone calls, thanking us for what we're doing. And if we're out walking around more, it seems like there's more police officers, more presence, which deters crime.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if someone is downtown and they see something or they want to report something, what's the best way to get a hold of the police station?
The main one's 911, which everybody knows. Mm-hmm. You can always call 911 and report a crime. I know there's also a non-emergency number you can call if you don't think it meets 911 standards. However, you're not going to get in trouble for calling 911 about something that is not an emergency.
Sure.
We also have a couple of phone numbers because sometimes people don't like to give out their name or want to stay anonymous, which is their Crime Stoppers hotline, okay. Which the number is 919-735-2255. Mm-hmm. And we also have a new thing where you can text the tip and remain anonymous during this. So you can also text it to 919-273-6585.
Okay.
That way you leave your name out of it. And when we get our tips, we follow up. We've had some pretty big busts and made some pretty good arrests based on tips like that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for talking with me, and thank you for the work that you do to keep us safe.
No problem.
And I look forward to talking with you again.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Chip Zwirling at the Acme Theater Zwirling Performing Arts Center in downtown Goldsboro. Tell me a little bit about your space and about your history.
Well, I guess if we go back, we started with Top Hat Ballroom Dance Studio around 1990, where we took Sorota's, which I believe was a dress shop, and converted it to a ballroom dance studio. And we've done that for many, many years. Well, we started producing shows, we started working more with the Paramount Theater, and we realized we just didn't have enough space. So the Acme Theater, which is only 2 doors down, I bought that with my wife Melissa about 2 years ago. And over a period of time, as you can see, we've converted it into this large open space for rehearsal. Currently, Miss Goldsboro is preparing for their scholarship event. We're preparing for our event in March. March 30th, it's Animals of Wonderland, where we'll have dancing, singing, and it's an original play.
And I hear that it supports a great cause.
Yeah, it's all to raise money for the animals. So we're supporting the local Humane Society and Animal Shelter of Goldsboro, as well as some other national organizations.
Okay, and if people want to buy tickets for that or learn more about that, who should they call?
The best thing is just contact the Paramount Theater. There's only going to be 2 performances, a matinee at 2 and an evening show at 7, again, both at the Paramount.
Okay. Now, I know you said that you converted this into a rehearsal space. Tell me some of the features that make this space so unique.
Well, first of all, this is one of the largest open floors you're going to find in eastern North Carolina, and maybe even in all of North Carolina. It's 30 by 80 feet, so that's 2,400 square feet of open, floating wood floor. And if you're a dancer, you know what I'm talking about. You can dance on this without hurting your legs.
Okay.
Of course, we have the mirrors, and we have a professional sound system, a little small stage. In fact, we've actually had a series of one-act plays that Center Stage did back in June. That's why I say it's got 2 faces, both as a theater, working in conjunction with the Paramount, kind of like a brother-sister relationship, and then again, just for rehearsal.
Okay, wonderful. And I hear you have a wonderful sound system here as
It's
well.
pretty good. You know, we're working on getting some money for lighting, but one step at a time.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about other events that you host throughout the year.
Well, we at Top Hat, of course, we have every month, I believe, a social dance, maybe 1 or 2 every month, as well as special events like Valentine's Day coming up. We have a Valentine's Day dance. The Top Hatters, which you'll be talking to Carl Williams in just a moment, they go to the various nursing homes throughout Goldsboro and do shows and live events. I think at least 2, maybe even as many as 4 a month.
Okay. And if someone is interested in renting out your space or learning more about, coming in here and doing a performance, what should they do?
Well, they can go online, either at zpac.org or acme-theater.org, or even go to ballroom.org, which is the main Heritage Dance Foundation site. Either way, you can get to us that way.
Okay.
And we can get you more information. I know, for example, one of our characters in the show is doing some belly dancing and Greek dancing, some folk dancing here in February. She's renting the space. So there's always something going on here, which is kind of fun. Encore Entertainment uses this for their shows in preparation.
Very nice. All right. Well, thank you for talking with us, and we look forward to your wonderful performances.
Thank you.
I'm here again at Top Hat Ballroom with Carl Williams, and he teaches dance classes.
That's correct. Joy and I.
Tell me a little bit about your classes.
Joy and I teach shag on Sundays. We start at 2 o'clock. We teach beginner, intermediate, advanced. We also do line dance, beginner and intermediate.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. It's a place to be.
What can people expect when they come to your classes?
Well, we teach a beginner basic shag. We teach a real good, solid fundamental. With the fundamental, you get the building blocks, then we can go to intermediate and advanced.
Okay, and for people who don't know what shag dancing is, someone who may be new to this area, can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure, it's sort of similar to your East Coast swing that you do in ballroom, except the East Coast swing is done side to side in a circular pattern, and shag is done in a forward and back slot, like you're on a diving board.
Okay. All right. Well, you're going to show me a few steps, right?
Be happy to, yes.
All right. Well, here goes nothing.
Okay, come on, please. Okay, turn this way so you can see the camera.
Okay.
And first we're going to get in a hold. And then we're going to do a 1-2 step. We're going to go 1, touch, 3 and 4, 5, 6. Good. Ready? Try that again. 1, touch, 3 and 4, 5, 6. One more time.
Okay.
1, touch, 3 and 4, 5, 6. And then our basic is going to be, stand with your feet gated just a hair, right foot forward. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6.
See, it's not so bad.
Great job.
Everybody should come down, check it out. It's a great way to get out of the house, get some exercise.
Absolutely.
And you know, we've got Center Street Jams coming up this summer. It's a great way to show off your new dance skills.
Perfect place to get polished up. And we have a Facebook page, Top Hat Ballroom Dance Studio.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for interviewing us.
I'm here with Connor McKinney, and he is one of the lead performers in, what's the production?
Animals in Wonderland.
Animals in Wonderland. Tell me a little bit about how you got started performing.
Well, I came to Goldsboro my freshman year, and about sophomore year, a friend of mine told me about Stage Struck, and I thought it was a silly idea, but he told me to go out for an audition. I did, and suddenly I'm here.
Okay, and you go to Eastern Wayne High School?
I do. I'm a senior right now.
All right, well, wonderful. And tell me a little bit about your role and about the show.
Well, it's pretty much a play on Alice in Wonderland, where I'm the big brother of our Alice, Lacey, and I just walk with her through this magical animal world.
Okay, is it a show that's really going to grab people's attention? It seems like it is.
I think it will. It'll be pretty funny, but all in all, it'll pretty much just be showcasing the different dancers' abilities, but I think people are going to have a good time.
And it's not typical Alice in Wonderland. There are some things that people will see that they shouldn't expect to see from a regular.
Oh, definitely not. And there'll be a few things in there only people right here in Goldsboro are going to get.
Wonderful. Well, tell me a little bit about the scholarship you're getting from the Heritage Dance Foundation.
Well, to my knowledge, this is for all seniors that are actually performing in these arts right now. And it's sort of an advantage that they have over other youth dance and performing arts companies, since here we have a lot of adults going, so it's easier to split up their limited funds between a few seniors as opposed to 30 or 40.
Wonderful. Now, what will you put your scholarship towards?
NC State. I'm going to the biology department next year.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for talking with us, and
Thank
I
you.
hope everyone comes out to see this performance. It's for a great cause and wonderful performers. I'm here with Debbie Grady. Debbie, tell me how you got started helping the Heritage Dance Foundation.
Well, I became a top hat dancer in 2009. All three of my children had grown up and moved out of the house and had graduated and were making a life of their own, and I decided I needed something fun to do, so I began dancing here at Top Hat Studio.
But you do way more than just dancing.
Well,
What do
I
you do?
actually have become involved with the Top Hatters, which we are an outreach group. We go out in the community and dance for various events. We do a bridal show at the mall. We dance at nursing homes. We also dance at assisted living facilities, and just try to provide community service through our love of dance.
Okay. You also play a key role in fundraising here.
Yes. Last year I became chairperson for the Swirling Performing Arts fundraising events. And this year our big event will be a fundraiser called Animals in Wonderland and Ballroom Barks. And that fundraiser will be held at the Paramount Theater on March 30th. We will have a matinee at 2 and then an evening show at 7 p.m. This will be a family-oriented show. Our characters are going to be very, very lively. We're going to have singing and dancing in the show. It's a very original play written by Dr. Swirling and his wife, Melissa. And we're just very excited to be able to provide a venue for people in the community who want to showcase their dancing and singing talents and also benefit the animals in Wayne County. We hope that we'll raise enough money to provide funds for the local Wayne County Animal Shelter. They need additional funds for spaying and neutering animals. And in addition, they also need a run. We hope we can raise enough money for a fenced-in area for the animals. At this point, they do not have an area to let animals, particularly the dogs, out to walk. And so we would like to be able to provide enough funds for that. We also want to help the Humane Society. They buy food for people in the community who have pets, but maybe having a difficult time providing the food right now with the economic situation being what it is. So we're hoping that we'll raise enough funds, plus provide a wonderful show for parents and children and grandparents and anyone in our community who just wants to have a good time.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about the grant work that you do and some of the successes you've had in that.
Well, we this year began to look for additional grant money to help with some of these projects. As Dr. Swirling told you in an earlier that Swirling Performing Arts Studio is now available for rental, but we still have needs in the Performing Arts Studio. We need lighting and some of those types of things.
Sure.
So we're looking for grant money all the time to help fund those types of things. In addition, we have a lot of cost involved in producing a show like Animal Barks, Ballroom Barks, Animals in Wonderland. And so we were able to apply for a grant with the Mary Duke Biddle Foundation in Durham, and luckily we received that grant, and that will help defray some of the costs for our Animals in Wonderland show that we'll be producing March 30th. In addition to that, the Wayne County Arts Council gave us a grant for the Top Hatters, and that, if you'll recall, I mentioned that earlier, that's our outreach group, and we go out into the community and put on shows and just share our love of dance with others, particularly people who are bound by place, like in the nursing home and assisted living, and can't get out to see our shows. We go out and put on those shows there. The Top Hatters have been doing this outreach for several years now. So we were thrilled to get a grant to help defray some of the costs of that, and that came from the Wayne County Arts Council. We're in the process now of looking at some other grant opportunities.
Well, wonderful. It sounds like you're doing such a good job here, and thank you so much for doing what you do to help serve the community and really inspire creativity in our community.
It's a lot of fun. Dr. Swirling and all of our Top Hat instructors make this a lot of fun.
Wonderful. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Downtown Living Show. To learn more about downtown Goldsboro and our events, please visit www.dgdc.org or find us on Facebook under Downtown Goldsboro.